Okay, so we are working on problem number 15. Please follow along as I read the problem aloud to you. Ciro purchased a concert ticket for $56. The cost of the ticket was 4/5 the cost of his dinner. The cost of his hotel was 2.5 times as much as his ticket. How much did Ciro spend altogether for the concert ticket, hotel, and dinner? So we're going to start off by writing our sentence. So I have my sentence. Ciro spent dollars altogether. So now when we think about this, this is one of those scaling problems where we're making something either bigger or smaller. So we start off with a concert ticket, and then the cost of the dinner was smaller. It's 4/5 as big. And then the cost of the hotel is bigger. It's 2.5 times. So when we're scaling, we can use multiplication for that. So before I can figure out how much he needed to spend, that he spent altogether, I need to know exactly how much he spent on his dinner, and I need to know exactly how much he spent on the hotel. So I'm going to start off with the dinner. Okay? So the dinner is 4/5 of $56. That's the part of the 56 that the dinner cost. So I have 4/5, and remember when I have a number in front of the word of and a number after, I can use multiplication. So because I know I'm going to need a fraction, I'm going to put that 56 over 1 right now. So now I need to multiply 4/5 times 56. So when I do that, I can't cross divide for this problem. So I actually have to multiply the 4 times 56. So I can do that off to the side. I'll actually do it up here. 56 times 4, 24, carry the 2, 4 times 5 is 20, plus 2 is 224. So when I multiply my numerators, I get 224. When I multiply my denominators, 5 times 1, I have 5. So now I need to simplify this, and remember, I need to be thinking about money. So I'm going to set up this division. Because remember, little reminder, remember that any fraction bar can be thought of as a division. So I need to set up 224 divided by 5. So I'm going to do my does McDonald's sell cheeseburger? Divide, multiply, check, subtract, bring down. Divide, multiply, subtract, check, and bring down. And so I have 5. And are there any 5s in 2? No. So I need to move over a digit. Now I'm thinking 5. Are there any 5s in 22? Yes, there are 4. I just divided. I need to multiply 4 times 5 is 20. I need to subtract. I get 2. I need to check to make sure, is 2 smaller than 5? Yes. So I can go ahead and bring down and start the process all over again. 5 into 24, there are 4 5s in 24. So I'm going to multiply 4 times 5 and get 20. I'm going to subtract, I get 4. Now I have a problem here because I have this remainder. Now remember, at this point I have a choice. I can either continue my division and get a decimal, or I can use this remainder to make a fraction. Well, remember, I need to have dollars. So that's going to tell me that I need to have a decimal answer because I need to have dollars and cents. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to add a decimal point, and I'm going to add a 0 because that choice that I need to make is to have a decimal point. I need to divide for a decimal. Notice I brought my decimal point up. I pretend like it's not there. I can bring down my 0, and now I can continue with my division. How many 5s are in 40? There are 8. Remember, I want to keep my numbers lined up. 8 times 5 is 40. So I'm going to subtract 40, and I'm going to get 0. Now, I have my decimal. But notice that 44 and 8/10 doesn't look like money. So I need to make this look like money. And the way I do that is I add a 0 so that I have my dollars and cents and it looks like money. So now I know that this was how much he spent on his dinner. His dinner was $44.80. So now I need to do the same thing to figure out how much the cost of his hotel was. I'm going to change my color, and I'm going to do the hotel in red to help make it clearer. So again, this is making that 56 bigger. He spent more. The dollars got bigger. So I can say that I am scaling. I'm doing 2.5 times 56. And it's helpful because in the problem it even tells us 2.5 times as much as the ticket. So now I have a fraction. I have a mixed number. So in order to multiply these together, I need to change that so that I have two fractions. So 2.5, okay, if I'm going to change that to a mixed number, to an improper fraction, I would have 2 times 2, which is 4, plus 1, and I would have 5 halves. And that's multiplied by 56 with a denominator of 1, because remember I need to have two fractions. So on this problem I can cross divide. I can say, and I'm going to switch, 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 56 divided by 2 is 28. And that will help me to keep my numbers smaller. So now I need to multiply my numerators, which is 5 times 28. So I'm going to do that over here, 28 times 5. 8 times 5 is 40. 2 times 5 is 10, plus the 4 that I carried, and I get 140. For my numerator, 1 is my denominator, so I know that the hotel was $140. Okay? Now, I could have decomposed the 2.5 and said 2 times 56 plus 1/2 times 56. That would be another way that I could get my answer. Both ways I would end up with 140. Okay, so now I know that for the hotel he spent 140, for the dinner he spent $44.80, and the problem had told me that the concert ticket had cost $56. So now I need to add $56 plus $44.80 plus $140. So 56. Now notice I am lining up my decimal points. I have put my decimal point down. I'm going to do 44 in front, 80 after. And then put my decimal point down. I have 140. I want to annex the 2 zeros so that I have an equal amount in each, equal amount of decimal places. So I'm going to go ahead and add. I get 0, 8. Bring down the decimal point. 6 plus 4 is 10. Carry the 1. 5 plus 1 is 6. Plus 4 is 10. Plus 4 is 14. Carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So I just found out that he spent $240.80 altogether. So let me go back and let me put that number in to my sentence. And I'm going to think, does that seem reasonable? It does seem reasonable. If the concert ticket was $56, okay, and I know that I spent a little bit less on the dinner, and I know I spent about 2 times as much, yeah, it does seem reasonable.